welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And today, Sam, we are going to be dealing with a very kind of a sticky problem. I say a sticky problem because this is one of those problems in life. It won't ruin your life, but it's kind of hard to manage. It's hard to find a good answer to. We're talking about dealing with bad neighbors.
Yes, this is something that can be a really big deal, actually, because you can't choose your neighbors.
It's like a little deal that can become a big deal because you're right. The simple answer is move. Move to another place, get away from your neighbors. But of course, that is a very crazy way to solve the problem.
Yes.
The other thing you can do is try to talk to your neighbors. And that's when it gets a little complicated. Some people can be very easy to deal with or solve problems with. Other people, well, you just don't get along. Have you ever had a really bad neighbor?
Yes.
Okay.
So I actually have a current problem is that
right now?
My neighbors had a cat, and the cat ran to our house when the door was open, and not house, apartment, but I went to pick up the cat to take the cat out of the apartment and return it to my neighbor, and it scratched me.
Oh my gosh, you got a scratch from your neighbor's cat.
Yes, so I will call my neighbor's cat a bad neighbor.
Yeah.
My neighbors themselves, they're okay.
Okay.
But my neighbor's cat, I'm watching you.
Did the neighbors see the scratch?
Yes, they watched it happen, they apologized. So the actual neighbors, the human neighbors, they're okay.
All right.
The cat neighbor.
Yeah, and that's another good tip about cats. If you don't know the cat well, maybe don't pick it up. Some cats don't mind. Some cats really hate that. Well, hopefully you won't have to move. The neighbors won't have to move, and the cat will just learn to stay away from your house because it's not the cat's house, it's your house. No. All right, so let's look at dealing with bad neighbors in part A. Let's see what's going to go on and how the problems here will be solved. Jill catches Mr. Wilson and his dog.
Mr. Wilson, stop your dog. It's going to the bathroom in my yard again.
There's nothing I can do. When he has to go, he has to go.
Of course there is. You can keep your dog off my property.
Why? He's not hurting anyone.
All right, so yes, we are dealing with bad neighbors, solving problems between you and a bad neighbor, or handling a difficult situation with bad neighbors. So part A, interesting title, Crossing the Line. Now that could be like a line on the ground, right? Or it could be when you break the rules, when you do something that will make a person upset. You say, you've crossed a line, I'm really angry now. Or it could be both.
Yeah.
You crossed the line and you crossed a line in our relationship. Let's find out what's happening.
Yes, so we have two must be neighbors since we are talking about neighbors. We have two people. We have Jill and Mr. Wilson and also his dog. So our setup says Jill catches Mr. Wilson and his dog. She catches them. She doesn't actually grab them. No, she
they're not falling from the sky.
Hopefully
she catches them, no.
No, but she saw them doing something that they probably shouldn't have been doing, and so that's another way to say that she catches them doing something.
I see, like if your mom catches you playing with your phone when you should be doing your homework.
Yes.
She finds them doing something wrong. Okay, so let's see what goes on first. Jill begins by saying,
Mr. Wilson, stop your dog. It's going to the bathroom in my yard again. I was going to say, if this was talking about a dog and catching somebody, it probably was something about the dog going to the bathroom where it shouldn't.
Yes, and that is in Jill's yard. You could also say her backyard, her front yard. This is basically Jill's land around her house, and that is what a yard is. Now, Most people in Taiwan, especially in the city, we don't have a house. Many of us, most of us, probably live in an apartment. But if you live in a house and you have a bit of land in front or behind, you would probably call that your yard. Your front yard out the front, your backyard in the back. It can be grass, it can be a garden, it can be a mixture of two. You can sit out there, you can barbecue there, the kids can play there, and the cats and dogs can also play there and also use it as a bathroom. But basically, it's the land around your home that it's also property that belongs to you. It's your land, and yeah, people or animals shouldn't just be going around and doing things on it unless you say it's okay. Now, Mr. Wilson, he's been told that his dog has been making poo-poos inside of Jill's yard, and he says, there's nothing I can do. You know, I can't watch the dog all the time. And he also says, when he has to go, he has to go. He's kind of leaving out a few words there. When he has to go to the bathroom, he has to go to the bathroom. It's just another way of saying he's a dog. He can't control himself. He won't come into the house and use the bathroom. He'll just go on the yard or on the street or in the park or wherever he is. He's a dog.
Yes, so, but Jill thinks that maybe there is something he could do.
Okay.
So she says, of course there is, meaning of course there is something that you could do. And her solution is, you can keep your dog off my property. So you can keep your dog away from my yard. Property, this is a word, it is a noun that just means something that you own. So you could say that your cell phone or your car, your house, those are your property. You also can talk about your land. So again, we're talking about a yard. So this yard is also her property. It belongs to her. She paid for it, she bought it, she takes care of it. It is her property. So she says, hey, keep your dog off my property.
Exactly, but he says, why? Why should I keep my dog off your property? It's a big world, it's a big city, it's a big neighborhood. What does it matter? He's not hurting anyone. He didn't go pee-pee on your foot. He didn't do a poo-poo in your picnic. So why should it matter if he makes a little poo-poo or pee-pee on your grass or in your garden? It doesn't hurt anyone. Well, I can see his point, but it is her property.
Yes.
Interesting situation. Let's take a break and find out how they solve this problem.
Sure, but you're not respecting what isn't yours.
You're making a big deal out of nothing.
And you're not taking this seriously. I'm done being polite. A fence is going up as soon as I can arrange it.
What? Really?
All right, we are back with Jill and her neighbor, Mr. Wilson. His dog has been going to the bathroom in Jill's yard. She's unhappy, but Mr. Wilson says it doesn't matter. The dog isn't hurting anyone. He's a dog. He'll do what he does naturally. Relax, Jill.
Yes, but Jill says, that's my property and I don't like it. So even though he said, oh, the dog's not hurting anyone, Jill says, sure, but you're not respecting what isn't yours. So again, this yard, this grass, this is not your property, it's my property, and you're not respecting that.
Okay, so she agrees that the dog isn't hurting anyone, but she's also saying, but it's my property, this is what I want to have happen where I live. And he says, you're making a big deal out of nothing. You're making a small problem into a big problem. There is no reason to do this. Just ignore the dog poo and the dog pee, and you won't be upset about this. But it is a question of respecting the other person and what they want to have happen. Respect is basically treating another person the way you would like to be treated. It's being kind to them, being honest with them, not trying to trick them, treating them in a very kind and honorable way, an honest way. So if you respect people, you won't insult them or lie to them or try to trick them, things like that. It's the kind of thing that we try to do to everyone, but sometimes when people get upset or angry or just unhappy, they might not, or they might disrespect other people. And of course, that can lead to people's having hurt feelings and getting upset. And it seems that Jill is getting a little upset. She feels that Mr. Wilson is not respecting her.
Yes, and not just that. She also says, and you're not taking this seriously. So she's trying to talk to her neighbor in a serious, respectful way and saying, hey, I don't like this. I'm not getting mad right now, but I'm telling you I don't like it. I would like it to change. So she's being polite in this situation, and she's talking to him very seriously. But then she says, since you're not taking it seriously, I'm done being polite. A fence is going up as soon as I can arrange it. So now, no more being nice, no more being polite. I'm putting up a fence.
Interesting. And this seems to surprise Mr. Wilson a lot. He doesn't seem to understand that he isn't respecting Jill. And he says, what? Really? He's kind of shocked and surprised that she will put up a fence, like a wall between her yard and his yard. I guess that's what she wants to do, and it's one of those situations where Mr. Wilson might not think it's important, he might not think it's a big deal, but she does, and so he should respect her and be polite to what she wants.
Yes, and so we had this word polite, and if you are being polite, then you are using your manners, you are talking in a nice way, you're using nice, kind words. So for example, saying please and thank you, we usually say that is being polite, or talking to somebody with maybe their full name, or their last name, that's being polite. So using these kinds of words that you would use with somebody that you're trying to be respectful to, that would be also saying that you're being polite. So when we're in any kind of situation that we're dealing with people we don't know as well, it is better to be polite and to be kind. And in this situation, she tried being polite. He wasn't responding very nicely, so she said, okay, fence.
Yeah, I'm done being polite, or I won't be polite anymore. And she's putting up that fence. What is a fence? It's kind of like a wall. It's a barrier around things to stop things from going in or getting out. The difference between a fence and a wall, well, basically, a wall would be made of brick or stone or something like that. You probably can't see through a wall, whereas a fence might be made of metal bars or wooden boards or wire or something like that, and you can probably see through a fence. For example, around a park, around a schoolyard, around a basketball court, around a garden, you might have a fence that allows the light to come in, but the balls in the schoolyard won't bounce out into the road and cause accidents. So fences, like walls, are used to sort of protect property and keep things in or out, or both. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Hopefully, Mr. Wilson and Jill will calm down a bit, maybe chat again. Maybe they won't have to have that fence. And Mr. Wilson's dog will find a better place to do his business. That would be best for everyone. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more good stories about bad neighbors. We'll see you then. Jill catches Mr. Wilson and his dog.
Mr. Wilson, stop your dog. It's going to the bathroom in my yard again.
There's nothing I can do. When he has to go, he has to go.
Of course there is. You can keep your dog off my property.
Why? He's not hurting anyone.
Sure. But you're not respecting what isn't yours.
You're making a big deal out of nothing.
And you're not taking this seriously. I'm done being polite. A fence is going up as soon as I can arrange it.
What? Really?
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 yard 名词，院子。The house has a big yard in the back. 这间房子的后面有个很大的院子。下一个单字 respect 动词，尊重、尊敬。You need to respect the elders. 你必须尊重长者。下一个单字 polite 形容词，有礼貌的、客气的。It's important to be polite when talking to others. 与其他人说话时，保持礼貌是很重要的。最后一个单字 fence 名词，栅栏、篱笆。The farmer built a fence around his garden. 这位农夫在他的花园周围建造了栅栏。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 make a big deal out of something. 对某事小题大做。Big deal 是非常重要的事，横为单数形式，这里的 out 可以省略。我们来看看这个例句 Don't make a big deal out of a small mistake. 不要对小错误小题大做。下一个文法 take 加名词 seriously 认真看待。Take 在这里指的是以某种方式理解思考。Seriously 指的是严肃的。我们来看看这个例句Tony didn't take his health seriously. Tony 没有认真看待他的健康。最后一个文法 something goes up 搭建、新建某物。Go up 是一个不可以分开的动词片语，它的主词必须为建筑物或者是店家等。我们来看看这个例句 A new skyscraper is going up in the city. 城市里正在新建一座新的摩天大楼。Skyscraper 指的是摩天大楼。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hey, 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 it's KiWi on the street.
I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie.
And today we are going to work on some translations.
Hi.
That's not very nice. Usually, if we need to excuse ourselves to pick up a phone call, there are more polite ways to do it instead of just walking off.
Ooh, sorry, wrong number.
Well, especially if it's a wrong number. Today, we are going to learn how to translate to be polite to excuse ourselves.
Sorry. Let's work on some translations. Please pick one for me. All right, let's see. What did you get?
很抱歉，我能打断一下您吗？
I don't know.
I'm sorry, may I?
Very sorry. Can I bother you for a little bit? I'm sorry, can I stop you for a while?
Very good. Can I stop you for a bit or can I interrupt you for a bit? Very, very good. We've got
很抱歉打扰，很抱歉打断你，但我能问个问题吗？
Pardon, but may I ask you a question?
Sorry to interrupt you, but may I have a question for you?
very close.
To you?
But may I ask you a question?
Oh,
okay.
More easily.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but may I ask you a question? Okay. Very good. So, what did we learn today? Today we did some translations and they were about interrupting a situation. And sometimes interruption can be kind of awkward, but we can still do it politely. So our first phrase is, I'm sorry, but may I interrupt you? You can also say, pardon me, but can I stop you for a few seconds? The next one is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but may I ask a question? You can also say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I ask a question? And these are our translations for today. KiWi later!